long.
The scoreboard said the match was over, but the crowd at Indian Wells Tennis Garden clearly disagreed. Midnight was creeping closer. The desert air had turned cool. And yet, thousands of people were still glued to their seats for one reason. A young player many fans had barely heard of a few months earlier had just delivered the kind of debut that turns curiosity into obsession. And as the final point landed, the stadium did not empty out the way it usually does after a routine early round match. Instead, something strange happened. People stayed, they stood, they cheered, they waited.
But just look at how many fans stayed. To get the win tonight in front of all of these guys. It was so incredible. This is my first time in ERUPTS. Surrounded by so much love, and I really needed to dig deep today. Diana played so well in a good most of the match, so I'm really happy with how I competed. It felt like it meant so much to you to get the win tonight. Yeah, matches like this where, like I said, you really have to dig deep. Means so much to me, and it's my first time here. The tournament is amazing. I'm so grateful to be here, to be playing in front of all of you. So I'm really happy I get to play another match. Last year you didn't even get into this event. This year you are seeded. It has been a whirlwind. If last year I had a conversation with you and said this is where you would be 12 months from now, would you have believed me? I would not have believed it. It's been a crazy journey ever since then, and it's only the beginning, so I'm so excited to really work hard and hopefully many more matches like this.
What the crowd had just witnessed from Eala did not feel like the beginning of a tournament run. It felt like the beginning of a story. The tournament itself, the legendary BNP Paribas Open, has never been short on star power. Every year, the biggest names in tennis descend on the California desert where the crowds expect fireworks from the sports elite.
Get the yearly.
Yo,
it's $77.
I love the honesty, though. I love the honesty. He's like, we're not concerned about anyone else right now. It's Alex Eala time. This is Alex Eala's moment. Our days, our dinners, our evenings are fixated on when she's playing. That's real tennis fandom right there. Love it.
$77 a month. Come on, just go get it. I mean, sorry, $77 for the year.
For the year, yeah.
I mean, that's a better.
Come on.
That's a better upgrade than your monthly subscription. You got to go get that.
Have you ever heard of another player other than their family that planned dinners around one tennis player?
The atmosphere usually revolves around champions, Grand Slam winners, and global superstars who arrive with massive followings. Yet, on this particular night, the loudest noise in the stadium had nothing to do with a top seed or a famous veteran. The spotlight had somehow shifted to a teenager making her debut appearance.
Biggest crowds we've seen stay this late to see a player play. So what does it mean to have this following, especially at this time of night, especially with it being cold and being the last match?
It means the world to have this community behind me in such a prestigious tournament. And for them to make the effort to stay up late and stay in the cold and cheer me on. So it really added to the feelings and the emotions after the match.
At first, the crowd did not quite know what to expect. Fans settling into their seats saw a young competitor walk onto the court with calm focus rather than flashy theatrics. For casual spectators, the name Eala might have sounded unfamiliar.
Alright, so you can see there that it was 2 hours and 51 minutes, 7-5, 4-6, 7-5 to Eala. But through the first set, it was very interesting. Eala got off to a pretty good start. They did trade breaks throughout the first set. Eala then got the break and had a chance to serve for the first set. She had multiple set points before Yastremska fought back. Eala got to 6-5 and then broke to take the first set. So Yastremska was, fighting back, had chances, but couldn't make it to that tiebreak. The second set, Yastremska got off to an early lead, but Eala brought it back.
For those who follow junior tennis or rising prospects, however, the name carried a quiet reputation. She had already built a resume that suggested something special was coming. But potential and reality are two very different things when the lights are this bright. Indian Wells is not a friendly place for nerves. The stadium is enormous, the expectations are high, and the atmosphere can overwhelm even seasoned professionals. Yet, from the moment the match began, Eala looked strangely comfortable, as though the massive stage had shrunk into something much more manageable. Her footwork was sharp, her timing was precise, and her shot selection showed a level of maturity that felt well beyond her years. She moved around the baseline with energy, chased down balls that looked unreachable, and fired back returns that forced her opponent into uncomfortable positions. Every rally carried a hint of surprise because the young newcomer was not behaving like a newcomer at all. Gradually, the murmurs around the stadium started growing louder. Fans who had originally been chatting casually during changeovers began leaning forward in their seats. Cameras in the crowd turned toward the court. Social media lit up with quick reactions from people watching the broadcast, all wondering the same thing. Who exactly was this player, and how was she playing like this in her first appearance at such a massive tournament?
Yeah, I saw the stadium was really full. I looked up and there was Filipinos for days. So it's really such a blessing to be able to play in those sorts of atmospheres, and I'm really privileged and thankful that I'm able to introduce kind of, this new world or new, sporting world, tennis, women's tennis, to a new demographic, and I think they're really enjoying it.
What made the performance even more intriguing was the way managed the momentum of the match. Instead of allowing excitement to turn into recklessness, she played with remarkable discipline. Her ground strokes stayed deep. Her angles forced her opponent to cover enormous ground. And her ability to absorb pressure gave the impression that she had been competing on this stage for years. The crowd responded to that composure in the most natural way possible. They began to rally behind her. It started with scattered applause after a particularly clever rally that ended with a perfectly placed passing shot. Then came a louder reaction when she chased down a difficult ball and somehow turned defense into offense with a cross-court winner. By the time she secured the first major momentum swing in the match, the entire stadium had shifted emotionally. Her opponent, experienced and determined, attempted to slow the rhythm of the match and regain control. Yet Eala continued responding with impressive calmness. When the rallies stretched longer, she remained patient. When the pressure increased, she answered with bold shot making that drew gasps from spectators.
Depends what was for dinner, but this is so great for tennis in general.
Yeah.
I think having players like Alex out there, and she's so gracious to all her fans. She spends time with her fans, signs the autographs, takes the photos, and really just shows the Filipino community that it is all about the Philippines. And I still carry that flag with me no matter where I go across the world. And such a young woman at that has that wisdom of just what it means to play for her country.
Only 20 years old, such maturity, already a hero to her entire nation. I mean, it's basically...
At one point late in the match, the tension in the stadium felt almost theatrical. The scoreline had tightened, the rallies had grown more intense, and every point seemed to carry enormous weight. Under those circumstances, many young players might begin rushing their shots or letting nerves creep into their decisions. Instead, Eala displayed something that commentators often describe, but rarely see so clearly: belief. She stepped into crucial points with the mindset of someone who expected success rather than feared failure. Her serve held firm when she needed it most, and her ability to redirect pace forced errors from the other side of the net. When she secured a particularly dramatic break of serve, the crowd erupted with a roar that echoed around the stadium. From that moment forward, the energy inside the arena transformed into full-blown excitement. More importantly, it would confirm what many spectators were beginning to suspect, that Alexa was not simply visiting the tournament. She was announcing herself. When the decisive point finally arrived, the rally unfolded with dramatic intensity. Both players pushed each other across the court, trading powerful shots that tested their endurance and precision. The crowd fell into a strange mixture of silence and anticipation, as if the entire stadium was holding its breath at the same time.
First huge match, I think it's definitely going to be a tough one. Coco is an amazing player and playing at home, so I'm expecting a big crowd to rally behind her just because she's amazing. But it's like every other match, Today I had to dig really deep, so I'm expecting that the next match I have to do even more, So I'm ready and I'm looking forward to it. No, I'm excited. Like I said the other day when you asked me, it was a tough match for me last time.
Then it happened. I unleashed a final shot that forced an error and sealed the victory. For a brief moment, there was a stunned pause as the reality of the results settled in. Then the stadium exploded. Applause thundered across the stands and cheers poured down toward the court. Fans who had initially come to watch a routine early round match suddenly realized they had witnessed something unforgettable. But the most surprising part came afterward. Normally, once a match ends late in the evening, the crowd gradually filters out as people head for the exits. Transportation schedules, long drives, and simple exhaustion usually encourage fans to leave quickly. Yet on this night, the stands remained remarkably full. At the center of it all stood Eala, smiling and acknowledging the crowd that had adopted her as their new favorite for the night. For fans familiar with her journey, the moment carried deep significance. Eala's path to this stage had been anything but ordinary. Born in the Philippines, she grew up in a nation where tennis is not the dominant sport, which meant her ambitions required unusual determination. Pursuing international competition demanded travel sacrifice and relentless commitment from both the young athlete and her family.
Going to play Coco Gauff in the third round. Now, not only was this match important for Eala's confidence, but it's also important for her ranking. So let's go have a look at her ranking here, and you can see she is currently 28 in the world in the live rankings. Now, that could change because obviously there's some players around her that are still in the tournament that could overtake her if she doesn't keep winning. But as of right now, she's in a very good position to be top 30 by the time we go to Miami in a week. So there it is, another classic match from Eala. She just seems to put on some absolute crazy matches throughout the whole year, and even last year she had some crazy matches, but she's...
Her development accelerated when she joined the prestigious Rafa Nadal Academy in Spain, an institution known for shaping talented juniors into disciplined professionals. Training in that environment exposed her to world-class coaching, intense competition, and the daily expectation of excellence. Over time, the results began to speak for themselves, captured major junior titles, and climbed the rankings, gradually building a reputation as one of the most promising young players in the sport. Her achievements included success at Grand Slam junior events, a sign that her game could withstand the pressure of big stages. Still, the transition from junior success to professional impact is rarely simple. Eala's performance delivered exactly that combination. As word of her victory spread across social media and sports news outlets, the reaction from tennis supporters around the world grew louder. For Filipino fans, the moment carried national pride. The Philippines has produced talented athletes in various sports, but a breakthrough star in global tennis would represent something historic. The excitement also resonated with neutral fans who simply enjoy watching emerging talent reshape the competitive landscape. Tennis thrives on fresh narratives, and the idea of a young player from Southeast Asia making waves on one of the sport's biggest stages instantly captured attention.
Congratulations, Alex.
Thank you.
how fun was it to play at the center court?
Super fun. It was
Yeah.
huge and the atmosphere was just incredible.
Yeah, I saw you produce such amazing points, like, side to side in those beautiful volleys. How did that feel?
It felt great. I mean, yeah, I had one point that was amazing about the volley, but no, I'm so happy with the way I performed and I kept my cool throughout the whole match. Yeah.
Inside the stadium, the celebration continued even as the night deepened. Spectators lined the railings hoping for autographs or photos. Conversations buzzed with speculation about what the future might hold for the new sensation. Some fans joked that they had arrived expecting to watch a typical tournament match and ended up discovering their newest favorite player. The atmosphere felt almost cinematic, as though everyone present understood that they had experienced a special moment together. Of course, one remarkable debut does not guarantee a legendary career. Tennis history is filled with talented players who burst onto the scene before facing the inevitable challenges of consistency, injuries, and relentless competition. Yet, moments like this matter because they reveal something deeper than a single result. They reveal presence. For the Women's Tennis Association Tour, the emergence of a charismatic young talent can energize the entire sport. Fans are always eager for new personalities who bring fresh stories and cultural diversity to the global tennis community. That is why the reaction at Indian Wells felt so powerful. It was not just applause for a victory. It was enthusiasm for possibility. Long after the match ended, the lights of the desert stadium continued illuminating clusters of fans who were reluctant to leave.
So I woke up this morning to Alex Eala fighting for her life and winning a 3-setter crazy match at Indian Wells right before midnight. So let's talk about some results of Indian Wells because there was a lot going on. So starting with Alex Eala, she played this crazy 3-setter against Yastremska, and Eala won the first set in 7-5, then dropped the second set in 4-6, and then fought back and won the third in 7-5. The crowd was on fire, to no surprise, because we know Alex Eala is like a crowd favorite, and she was just playing so well. And guess who she's gonna play next? Coco Gauff.
Some replayed highlights on their phones. Others debated how far I might go in the tournament. A few simply sat quietly absorbing the memory of an evening that had turned unexpectedly magical. Meanwhile, the young champion of the night walked off the court carrying more than just a win. She carried the beginning of a connection with thousands of fans who had witnessed her breakthrough. As midnight finally arrived and the stadium began to empty, one question lingered in the air. If Alex Eala could ignite this kind of reaction in her very first appearance at Indian Wells, what kind of storms might she create once her career truly begins to soar? That question hung over the desert long after the final spectators drifted out of the gates of Indian Wells Tennis Garden. Debuts are supposed to be quiet introductions, a gentle step into a tournament filled with established stars. What happened that night felt completely different. It felt like the crowd had collectively stumbled onto the opening scene of something much bigger.
Gonna meet Coco yet again. Coco herself, she didn't have the easiest match herself, but she did win in 2. It was against Rakimova and she won 6-3, 7-6. And now we get a rematch. I think it was in Dubai when she met Alex Eala. So interesting to see if Alex Eala is gonna maybe improve her level against Coco Gauff.
Alex Eala, the victory was more than a result on the scoreboard. It was proof that the years of training, travel, and sacrifice had prepared her for moments that demand both courage and composure. The roar that followed her final point was not just appreciation for a well-played match. It was recognition of a young competitor who had walked onto a massive stage and played as though she belonged there all along. As the BNP Paribas Open continues and the tournament storylines grow more intense, the spotlight will inevitably shift toward bigger names and deeper rounds. That is the nature of a global event packed with champions and contenders. Yet, anyone who stayed in that stadium until nearly midnight knows something the rest of the tennis world is only beginning to realize. Alex Eala's debut did not simply introduce a player. It introduced a future story.